What's happening?
It's looking for us, Brad. Quick, hide in these lockers.
Holy... Raymond, it's really coming for us.
Shh, Brad. We need to keep quiet. It can hear us. This story is a series. If you have not watched the previous episodes, please start from the beginning, or from your most recently watched episode. Thank you for watching. This was it. The investigation Raymond and Brad had been waiting for. The professor had received another call after showing Raymond's project to the rest of his colleagues. So Brad, you remember what I said about this place,
Well,
right?
we have to be extra careful because you broke the crucifix.
That's right, Brad. Until we get another one, we won't be protected by it. So just be careful. We have to make sure we're on track with our supplements and use the smudge sticks often.
Right, okay. I'll stay on top of it.
Before Raymond could have another thought, Brad whispered another question like a child on the night before Christmas.
Do you think we'll see a ghost this time, Raymond?
Most likely, Brad. That's why we have to be extra careful. This spirit is known to be dangerous. Do you remember what we talked about, Brad? How to tell if it's coming after you?
I know, the flashing lights. I got it.
That's right. Let's see if we can find this ghost and see what Todd's dealing with in there.
Power's also off in here too, Raymond.
I think we'll see that more often, Brad, as we get into more intense hauntings. Let's turn it on first. I think Todd mentioned it was in the garage. He wanted to try the new parabolic mic, a device used to detect minute sounds amongst the house. He hoped to pick up maybe some footsteps or perhaps a ghostly whisper. Raymond thought either way it would help narrow down the ghost's location. Raymond's thoughts returned to the conversation between his professor as well as one of the professor's colleagues. An English professor by the name of Todd said he had experienced real events that put his wife in the hospital, who unfortunately succumbed to her wounds. Never mind the fact he had been questioned by the police many times because of this incident. Todd had told the professor and Raymond that the spirit attacked his wife, pushed her down the stairs, and she was left unconscious. She entered a coma and then later passed in the hospital that day. The police had to do a full investigation as she was found with marks on her neck, a sign of strangulation. Todd had tried to sell the house for many years now. Unfortunately, it's been sitting on the market because everybody in the town had saw the story in the newspaper, seemingly making the house impossible to sell. He gave Raymond and the professor a bit more background information leading up to this tragic event. Todd and his wife had seen many apparitions appearing in the house before the attack. There was lots of times they would find broken plates in the kitchen, a child's ball rolling down the stairs, and lots of out-of-place items in the basement. He mentioned to Raymond and the professor that as he drives home, he passes the house sometimes, and even now he can see the ghost staring out of the windows of the living room and the kitchen, even sometimes beside the door. They hadn't found a hint of the haunting yet. Brad explored the rooms upstairs as Raymond scanned the parabolic mic amongst the household. Raymond was diligent with the mic. He swept the halls looking for sounds, like a corn broom brushing a porch. It would bounce occasional numbers on its screen, yet he could hear items being tossed. Was it upstairs? Was it in the living room downstairs? All right, Brad. I'm gonna sweep around this area, see if I pick up any sounds on the parabolic mic. Can you take the thermal into all the rooms, check for a low temperature?
Yeah, I can do that, for sure, Raymond. I'll let you know if I find any cold spots.
That's when Raymond heard voices, whispering at him. He pointed the mic to the hallway and stairs. He started to stumble backwards as he heard it. Brad, did you hear that whispering? I heard it coming from the stairs, I think.
Wait, really, Raymond? I didn't hear anything.
It must have just been on the parabolic microphone.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything, Raymond.
Really, Brad? Maybe there's some sort of evidence left from the activity down here. I'm sure the voice came from here, unless it was from downstairs. The voice had caused his heartbeat to quicken. Slight panic started to build a toppling tower in his mind. They searched the end of the hallway, the bathroom and adjacent bedrooms, but there was no obvious indicators of the ghost's presence around there. Raymond knew he had heard the voice, but where had it come from? It wasn't on the second floor, but in fact maybe down the stairs. Raymond continued to scan for sounds. Perhaps it was the living room. Todd had said many times he would see the ghost in the living room window as he drove by. That's when Raymond saw a plate on the ground. Brad, there's a plate out of place here. It's on the floor. I think I heard it on the parabolic mic earlier.
Yeah, you're right, Raymond. I see it. I'm still not getting any cold readings on the thermal, though.
That's unusual, Brad. With all this activity, you should have seen a reading by now in one of the rooms.
Yeah, you're right. It's like it's everywhere in the house. Maybe it's wandering around.
Raymond started a salsa of swings with his microphone, a dance of searching for sounds as he spun and swayed. He slowed the pace to match the silent hum of the house. Yet there was seemingly only one person watching, as no sounds was made by anything but Brad.
I mean, did you hear that? I thought I heard a door. It sounded like it maybe have been the basement. I'm gonna go check it out.
Raymond danced in the kitchen. He held his partner the microphone as they stepped together, looking for some sort of sign.
The temperatures are definitely lower down here.
Raymond pointed his partner down the stairs. They stood in silence, waiting. Okay, Brad, let's go check it out. Raymond heard the doorknob twist in front of him. The parabolic mic in his hand reaching high numbers that he had never seen before, a 7.2. He needed to scan more of the basement for something other than this swinging door. He looked around the room, but again, the door was touched. The ghost's activity seemingly grew. The more they searched, Raymond believed they were on the track to find its haunting spot. The downstairs was filled with shelves of items. There were many things for it to move and throw. Raymond believed this could be its haunting room, but all their equipment was not giving answers to the activity. Perhaps this was just an area it frequented.
Things seem out of place down here.
Yeah, I think things have been thrown around. Wait, did you hear that? Something just moved down here.
Do you think this is where it could be haunting, Raymond? There is a lot of activity.
That's a good point, Brad. Let's set up some things around here. Maybe you're right. Raymond found the parabolic mic at the end of its use. He had heard voices and various things fall. They'd narrowed down the location. He ran back up to the island to grab the EMF before heading towards the basement again. Brad had placed a book down already. Raymond wanted to check to see if there was any magnetic disturbances. He needed to grab another device to search the location. With this much activity in the basement, there had to be some sort of evidence it was leaving behind. He thought there could be a magnetic field disruption, or fingerprints, something like that. Raymond swept the aisles of stored stuff, the occasional sound giving away activity, but the EMF stayed silent, not even a slight beep. There was no magnetic mischief in the basement, but Raymond's search was interrupted by the flashing lights above him. Brad!
Raymond, what's happening?
It's looking for us, Brad. Quick, hide in these lockers.
Holy, Raymond, it's really coming for us.
Shh, Brad. We need to keep quiet. It can hear us. The dead silence in the basement made Raymond's heartbeat feel so loud he could hear the gushing blood pushing past his veins and artery. Raymond wanted to see if he could take a better look.
Raymond, what are you doing?
My flashlight isn't flickering, Brad. It must just be messing with the power. I'm gonna go see.
Raymond, it only affects your flashlight when it's near you. It's always near the power in the house, so it's always affecting it. You have to stay here till the lights go off.
Raymond sunk back into the locker to await the strobing lights to return to darkness. He thought he heard singing. How had he forgot such an important fact on the ghost's ghastly, haunting hunt? Brad, let's head out to the van right away. We need to take some supplements.
Raymond, it's not gonna get us when we make our way out, will
As
it?
the shadows in the basement disappeared into darkness, Raymond immediately ran, Brad's footsteps following with haste. It was lucky Brad had remembered and was present. If he wasn't, Raymond could have walked into death's arms. It would have gracefully embraced his soul. As they made it outside, the refreshing, crisp night air fell deep into Raymond's lungs. He didn't feel chill but icy, yet his body felt warmer outside than the frozen household. His heart returned to a jogger's pace.
It was really after us there, Raymond. I could hear it walking around upstairs. I heard something similar in the last house.
I know, Brad. I thought I heard it too. It sounded like it was singing, but my heart was thumping so loud I couldn't tell.
Why are we laughing?
Because we're friends, Brad. We just escaped death.
What's next, buddy?
Let's regroup. Get our heads back into it. Their friendship had grown since the last investigation. Now that Brad believed, he was more inquisitive and wanted to see all the secrets of the paranormal. But he had also lost his courage and boldness. He was more frightened of the reality of the supernatural. Raymond was now convinced the ghost was haunting the kitchen, or maybe the entryway. When it was hunting them, and hadn't come to the basement, it made him believe it was above them. He thought he could hear footsteps stamping on the floors above as he hid. Brad, we should start setting up equipment around the front door and kitchen.
Alright, good plan. Let's see if we can actually find some evidence of this haunting.
He watched the camera from the van, hoping to see the ghost orbs floating in view. The bright light of the kitchen made it impossible to see. Brad, can you shut off the lights in there? I want to see if I can see any ghost orbs on the camera.
Yeah, I can do that. Just give me a second here.
That's good, Brad. Raymond watched with undivided attention. Wanting to see the orbs, he watched Brad quickly run in and flick the lights off, and then sprint back out. Raymond couldn't shake the feeling that Brad was scared to be in there alone. That helped, Brad. Thanks. But that was a lie. There were no ghost orbs in the night vision scene. Another dead end in their search for something. Raymond decided to run in. Maybe putting another camera and a dots projector down would reveal something. The scraping sound of nails on wood startled him as he quickly looked around to see no culprit of the crime. He understood Brad's haste, and Raymond quickly turned on the projector before running out the front door. Brad, this ghost's really hard to track down.
Yeah, it seems like it's wandering around the house.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Brad. Maybe we missed something. Or perhaps this ghost is hiding from us.
Do ghosts even do that, Raymond? Do they hide?
Another trip to the van. Raymond could feel the repetition of his thoughts and actions growing. Every time he came back to the van, checked the activity meter, and of course the cameras, it would grow in strength. This ghost had been quite evasive, even though it had been giving them so many signs of its presence. The evidence was nil. Raymond watches the camera again. He didn't see any apparitions appearing in the dots of the projectors. He wondered what they had been missing. Maybe one or more sweep of the basement could reveal something. Raymond was happy that Brad was now on his side. They would work together. He'd always be on board with plans. It seemed like his thirst for answers was now fueled with knowing more instead of proving it was a hoax or a setup. Raymond was still on edge from the flashing lights and the singing siren. He wanted to finish up this investigation as quick as he could. He didn't want to hang around any longer than they needed to. Neither of them wanted to die, but as Raymond learned more of the paranormal, he felt more bold, more courageous. He was ready to risk something for this. The basement was colder, but not by much. Raymond knew he could feel chills on his back and spine every time he walked in the house, but the basement wasn't freezing cold. Raymond didn't think it was the place it was haunting anymore. It had to be somewhere in the main floor. Raymond needed to clear his head, think about what to do next. He decided to head to the van, make sure there was activity inside, and perhaps grab another device to detect the evidence. The ghost must have been leaving some sort of evidence. Perhaps it was leaving fingerprints. He had heard the sound of twisting knobs and swinging hinges many times. It would be a better guess than none. Raymond also thought to grab the thermal gun. Perhaps Brad had just missed something. Not that he didn't trust him, but Raymond just knew more. Armed with both the devices, he was ready for fingerprints or freezing temperatures. He didn't know which one he'd get, but he was excited. Raymond decided to look for fingerprints with the UV light, but the doors and light switches produced fallow fields. Seemingly all the white doors splattered with the purple UV light were empty. Frustration was beginning to bubble up inside of Raymond's stomach. He just wanted something, some sort of proof that this ghost was here. As soon as he walked back to the door, he thought he could see his breath, though. Raymond was stumped. He thought for sure, with many times it touched the doors, it would have left some sort of trace on them. He needed to head out again, and make sure it wasn't the cold air pushing in from outside. Another trip to the van to think never hurt. He could check the cameras as well as the activity meter, and the sanity statistics as well. While he was in the van, he had an epiphany. Maybe it was in the foyer, the entrance of the house. It would make sense why it would be so active there. Raymond could feel the frustration turning to anger. He checked the cameras, another last-ditch effort to find ghost orbs or some sort of apparition, but there was nothing. Raymond felt like this was all a joke. With a bottle of stimulants down his throat, he got the courage to head back in and investigate again. He headed back to the house one more time. He grabbed the thermal from the island and began to scan, and that's when he caught a negative reading for a second. He was right. Brad, I think it's in the front room. I got a negative reading on the thermal.
Yeah, I thought I saw my breath in here earlier, but I never got a negative reading on the thermal. I just thought it could have been a cold night.
Raymond checked the temperature of the adjacent areas to make sure he was in fact correct. He checked the upper floor again, but the evidence led to the ghost was haunting the bottom of the stairs and the entryway.
Hey, should we move the equipment around, Ray? Get it all in the entrance here?
Yeah, Brad. Come on in. Let's move stuff around. That was right where it had strangled Todd's wife. Raymond got shivers down his spine. He wanted to leave, but he needed to move the equipment around. Like a bloodhound on the scent, the team of the two investigators were on the trail of discovering this ghost. With them knowing where the ghost was, they could now narrow down and discover what kind it was. That anger and frustration finally released the tension from Raymond's shoulders. He let out a huge sigh of relief. They had discovered at least one evidence now. He knew he could get the others. It was just a matter of time before they showed themselves. It was a waiting game, and Raymond didn't really want to play that way. Raymond wanted to go in there and expose the evidence. He was refilled with vigor, ready to investigate again like he had just arrived at the house for the first time. Raymond wanted to check the cameras again and see if an apparition would show in the lasers. He watched Brad's flashlight scan side to side, but no ghost appearing. He wondered how he was feeling after that flashing light incident that seemingly had shaken him to his core. As most times, Raymond realized Brad would stand outside the house. Raymond flipped open his notebook to see what ghosts exist in freezing temperatures. It could perhaps give him a hint on what the ghost could be. The list was long. There was still more to narrow down. There were too many ghosts and evidence left to make a decision. That's when Raymond had an idea. There was one device they hadn't tried yet. He decided to try the spirit box. It had worked for him many times before. Brad, keep an eye on me. I'm gonna go in there and try the spirit box, alright?
Alright, I'll keep an eye out for you. If I see the light starting to flash again, I'll yell.
Are you in here? Is anyone here? Can you hear me? Are you friendly? But the replies were empty. Nothing came through from the other side this time. Only the static the device created. Have you seen anything yet, Brad?
No, I've been watching, and there just isn't anything happening.
We must be missing something. There must be something we didn't catch. Raymond knelt down outside the door. He peered into the glowing green dots. He scanned his head side to side as Brad had done many times before. He thought he would see something. Maybe something would appear in front of him. Whether it was the ghost, an evidence of some sort, or an idea that came to him, he didn't really know. But he needed something to point him in a direction to travel. He didn't know which way to go, which road to head down. Raymond could see Brad was cautious on entering the house after the flashing lights. Raymond wouldn't blame him. It was a scary thing. He wondered where Brad's boldness had gone. Did it just wander away? They went back to the van. Raymond grabbed a photo cam and checked the cameras again. Maybe a new angle would reveal the ghost orbs. But none were present again. Raymond felt like he was grasping at straws now. He had gone over the same evidences so many times, trying so many different angles, positions, moving items, scanning different sides. But nothing would work. Every time he'd walk back in the van, he would see the activity meter filled with spikes and dips as the activity level inside varied. But every time they were in there would be no evidence blaring out that same path. As he walked to the house, he really tried to think what possibly could be missing. What evidence is evading them? What this ghost was seemingly hiding from them. He could feel that frustration inside him growing. Raymond never realized he was a man to get frustrated, but the more investigations he did, the more impatient he became. This constant repeating and looping thought and process of going back to the van, grabbing another camera or another piece of equipment, a device, setting it up inside, moving the other devices, changing the camera angles, and watching was driving him insane. This whole night, the same 3 steps had been repeated. How many times had he thought to himself, I'll head out back to the van, or I'll go back in and change the camera angle. Maybe I need to move the equipment. That frustration inside him had started to really bubble up into anger. The situation and the constant repeating thoughts were making him so angry. How many times had he thought about the parabolic mic, the sounds he heard? How many EMF thoughts did he have? And what about that nagging activity meter he had mentioned many times? His mind was cluttered with repetition. He wanted this night to be over.
Raymond, it's here. It's right fucking in front of me.
I see it on the camera, Brad. I see it.
What is your name? What? It's gone. Raymond, it just disappeared.
I'm coming, Brad. I'm coming right now.
What was that, Raymond?
It was the ghost, Brad. We saw
Raymond,
the ghost.
we did it. We saw a real apparition. Like the spirit appeared right before us.
I even saw it on the van camera, Brad. We have footage of it. This is a breakthrough. Now we just have to find what kind of spirit is haunting this place.
Wait, we have to go back in there? What if that thing attacks us again? I can't go back in there.
They were back to looking for more evidence. He checked his book and saw the clear photo the ghost Brad had took. It wrote in the book, Brad. We should bring it back to the van and inspect it more. It looks just like scribbles. I don't want to miss something. Ghostwriting. They finally found another evidence. Raymond was excited. He needed to take it back to the van right away. He was so close to making a discovery on this ghost. Brad, take a look at these scribbles. I mean, they look like circles, but do you think there's a message in there?
It just looks like angry scribbling to me. I don't know.
With this new information, he checked his diary again. It could be a demon, revenant, or shade. As he checked them, he believed it would be a shade. The lack of fingerprints and no ghost orbs pointed to this.
Get it, Brad. You can do this.
Brad, we need to try and get a better EMF reading. I think this could be a shade.
Shade? They aren't that dangerous, right? Okay. Alright, we can do this. We can do that. Let's go.
Raymond was bouncing with excitement, like a child in a bouncy castle. He was happy and smiling. He had finally got a photo of a ghost. More evidence of the existence of the paranormal. Nothing could notch Raymond down from his high. He wanted to head back in again, but as he did, he saw Brad again, staring from outside the door. Raymond realized Brad was truly terrified. But this couldn't slow Raymond's excitement. He didn't care about his friend's feelings. He wanted to find more evidence.
You sure about this, Raymond?
Yeah, Brad. We'll be fine.
Okay.
The power's off again, Brad. You want to get that while I search for an EMF reading?
Yeah, I got that. It's gonna be
EMF 5, Brad. We got it. EMF 5.
Okay, let's get the hell out of this place.
They did it. It was a shade. The excitement was overwhelming, spilling out of the cup. Raymond was so happy. Brad, we did it. We found out the ghost. We got evidence. We even got a picture of it. We got it on the van cameras too. I bet you got a great shot of it with your shoulder cam.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Let's just get out of here. Head back to the hotel. Once we're closed up, can you head back and lock it up? We can come back for the stuff in the morning.
Yeah, no problem, Brad. Maybe when we get back to the hotel, we can grab a drink.
Yeah, I could definitely use a drink.
The last scene Raymond can see is Brad staring intently at the strong, swirled scribbles of the book. Raymond wondered what was going through Brad's mind now. Hello everyone. Thank you for stopping in for the third episode of the Phasmophobia story series. If you enjoyed the video, please leave us a like. And if you want to watch more of our stories, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Lastly, drop me a comment down below. Has Brad's change of opinion on the paranormal changed the dynamic of their investigation team? Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.